Okay, money. Yeah. So when do we go for what? We have a very defined documentation in Salesforce. Like, there are some criteria checks that you'll have to consider. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, workflow, in a workflow, there are some using a
All right.
workflow. Okay. You can do a field update.
Mm-hmm.
You can create a task.
Okay.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that way, so workflow is restricted to only these things.
Okay.
Now, if you talk about process builders, you can
Mm-hmm.
post you can post in chatter.
Okay.
Okay, you can
Mm-hmm.
create a record. You can
Mm-hmm.
delete a record. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can call epics.
Mm-hmm.
So, but from workflows, you cannot call epics.
Okay.
Okay, so epics here is nothing but you know
Mm-hmm.
uh, the general coding language in Salesforce. You know that part, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
just heard about that part.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
is enough for now. Okay.
Okay.
So let me tell you. So this workflows topic will be very interesting. Okay, like
Mm-hmm.
in interviews, you'll at least get 2 to 3 solid questions in workflows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
just try to understand it at a very high level. So
Mm-hmm.
let's not compare it with any other automated process for now. Okay, today
Okay.
we will just stick to what are workflows. Once we covered all the automated process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as we expand, if you understand, so when we are talking about OWD, we spoke
Mm-hmm.
about private, public read writes, and all that stuff, right? So how
Yeah.
are we opening up access,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
when it is private, we go for role hierarchies, and then we go for sharing rules, and then we go for manual sharing, and then epic sharing. So we are opening up access, and we are using role hierarchies for vertical sharing.
Yes.
We are going for sharing rules for lateral sharing.
Mm.
If I actually if you can also call sharing rules as an automated process.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is automating the sharing, right? You're providing
Mm-hmm.
certain criteria, and based on that criteria it is sharing the records,
Okay.
right? So so when you're learning about that security part, we
Mm-hmm.
were actually gradually expanding, opening up the access. In similar way, when we learn through
Mm-hmm.
this automated process, we will understand the differences when we talk about that specific process. Okay, so since
Okay.
this is the first one, let's only stick to workflows.
Okay.
Okay, so if you see, this is the workflow window. From setup home, you'll directly come to the workflow, and you'll see
Mm-hmm.
workflow rules.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm clicking a new role just to show. So it is. So the first screen when you try to create a workflow is, it will ask you on which object you want to create the workflow.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, let us
Mm-hmm.
select contact. Okay, I just selected some contact. So it is now asking you to define the workflow rule name and a
Mm-hmm.
description. So one suggestion to you. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever in Salesforce, when you're implementing something, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the
Mm-hmm.
best practices. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
always add description. Description is nothing
Okay.
but the purpose why you are creating this component and how are you going to use it.
Okay.
So this doesn't have to be technical. This is just for your reference, and it can be functional at a very high level language.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm just creating this workflow for demo purpose. So I'll just say demo purpose.
Mm.
Okay, simply. So let's say test workflow rule. Okay, so now this is the rule name. The first section is only talking about what the workflow rule name is, what the description is.
Mm.
That's all. Now in the second section, what it is talking, evaluation criteria.
Okay.
Simply meet the criteria, and every time it's edited,
Mm.
created, and anytime it's edited to subsequent launch for a workflow.
Mm.
So you can And whenever a record is created, this workflow will fire.
Mhm. Okay.
You're understanding, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever a contact record is created, this workflow will fire.
Mhm.
Okay. Now
Okay.
created and every time it's edited.
Mhm.
This will fire
Okay.
whenever a contact record
Mhm.
is created and every time it is edited.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet the
Mhm.
criteria. So were you able to understand the difference between these two? Created and edited every time it is edited and the last option, the last options.
Mm, no,
Okay.
actually.
So in Salesforce, wherever you see this I icon, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is nothing but some help text.
Okay.
Okay. So what it is saying here, whenever
What
you
is
choose this
the?
third option, okay,
Mm-hmm.
the workflow will fire only when a record not meeting the criteria is edited to meet the criteria.
God, that doesn't meet criteria. No, except I didn't get that.
Okay,
Just
it is confusing to you, right? Okay, that's fine.
yeah.
So let's say I'm giving the criteria here. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, right, this is the rule criteria.
Okay.
Okay. So whenever a contact record is created with first name as my name, okay,
Mm.
this workflow rule should fire.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, or else let me actually do one thing which might be easy for us to understand. Yeah. Mm, yeah, this should be fine. Okay. Yeah, let's go with this. Okay. Whenever a contact record is created with first name as Karthik, this
Mm-hmm.
validation rule should fire. So what is this? This is the criteria that we are defining, right, for this workflow to
Yeah.
fire.
Okay.
So if, for example, if a contact first name is created with your name,
Mm-hmm.
this criteria will fail, right?
Yes.
So in that case, this criteria, this workflow rule will not fire.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, now understand this. So contact first name is Karthik. Contact record is created.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I updated this evaluation criteria to be created.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Will the workflow fire?
If it is a if the name is Karthik, then it will fire. I guess.
Right. Yeah. The name is
Yeah.
Karthik. Assume
Yeah.
the name is
It
Karthik.
will.
Okay.
Yeah. It will.
Now in this scenario, will it fire?
Yeah.
Create. Right.
Yeah.
In this scenario,
Item itself. Yes.
right. So in all
Mm.
these three scenarios, whenever a record is created with the first name as Karthik, this is firing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
edit option is not there in the first evaluation criteria.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are
Mm-hmm.
talking about edit part. The record is already created. Now I'm editing something.
Mm.
Now what I did
Okay.
is I changed the last name.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now if I select this as evaluation criteria,
Mm-hmm.
will the workflow fire?
Yes.
So because the criteria is satisfied,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Now
Mm-hmm.
if I select this, will the workflow fire?
Mm. Yes.
No.
Because you're not changing first name, right?
Yes, we are not changing the first name.
Mm.
Okay. The
Mm-hmm.
record is already meeting the criteria,
Yeah.
right? We are not changing the
Mm.
first name here. The record is already meeting the criteria.
Mm.
You're doing some other field update.
Yeah.
So you don't want the workflow to fire in this scenario. If I am
Mm.
changing the first name on contact
Mm.
from
Mm-hmm.
Amani to Karthik, then this
Mm-hmm.
workflow will fire.
Okay.
Did you understand?
Okay, time it's edited to subsequent meet criteria. Okay,
Exactly.
okay. Yeah,
Read
okay,
this
got
line
it.
once again now.
Yeah, yeah, got it now.
Read this line
Mm.
once again. The rule is evaluated. Yeah. Read it out.
The rule is evaluated when a record is created, and when a record that doesn't meet this meet criteria is edited to meet criteria.
Now, did you understand?
Okay, yeah,
This is a very important interview question. Okay. And very
okay.
confusing too. So
Yeah,
there is no confusion here. So
okay,
you'll understand this much better when you move into epics.
okay.
Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
if you understand this part, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you understand this part conceptually,
Mm-hmm.
triggers will be very easy for you. All the trigger events will be very easy for you.
Okay.
So it is very simple. Any
Mm-hmm.
record that is not meeting the criteria is edited
Mm-hmm.
to meet the criteria. Only then the
Mm-hmm.
workflow will fire.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are situations
Mm-hmm.
when you will have to choose this option.
Mm-hmm.
That is another interview question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you already understood. So if the value that you're actually so let's say uh I have some food business. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, so on this day, if some customer comes in with the name Karthik, I'm going to give
Mm-hmm.
them 10% discount.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now in this scenario, like it is easy for us, right? Like contact. So name is Karthik, so I'm going to give him 10% discount.
Okay.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
on that day,
Mm-hmm.
like many customers might come with that name, right?
Yeah.
So that is one of the marketing ideas. Like I can have so many customers with that name, and so many customers might be coming.
Yes.
So of course, like the contact will be different. This might be a bad example, but just try to understand. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So every time a customer with the name Karthik comes in, we
Mm-hmm.
have to give them 10% discount.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's say
Mm-hmm.
that should happen only once.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first time, when a customer with the name Karthik came in, I gave the
Mm-hmm.
discount. That's it. It's over.
Okay.
Now, if any other person with contact as first name comes with Karthik comes in, we should not give them
Mm-hmm.
any discount.
Okay.
So you understood the difference, right?
Mm.
So on what business requirement you want the workflow to fire?
Mm.
Should it be irrespective of it meets the like it should meet the criteria definitely, but
Mm-hmm.
do you want the field on the criteria to be
Mm-hmm.
changed, or you don't want the field on the criteria, like you don't bother about the change on the criteria fields?
Mm.
Okay, so that is the different business functionally based on your requirement you'll be choosing between these two.
Okay.
Okay, there is one more
Mm-hmm.
scenario. Okay, we will
Mm-hmm.
talk about it in few minutes. Okay, that is
Okay.
one of the most complex things in workflows, but it is very easy to understand.
Okay.
Okay, so I have
Mm-hmm.
defined the criteria and I'm saying created and updated.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're saying one line here. What is it?
You
You cannot
can't
add
add.
time dependent workflow actions with this option.
Okay.
Okay, we will talk about this in few minutes.
Mm.
Okay, now I'm saving it and going to next. So now this is the third screen, step 3.
Mm.
Okay, step 3.
Mm.
So what did we do? This is the rule criteria. Contact name equals Karthik. Evaluate
Mm-hmm.
when a record is created and every time it is edited. So this
Edited.
is the workflow that we configured.
Mm.
So now when a record that meets this criteria, this workflow criteria comes in, what you
Mm-hmm.
want me to do?
Mm.
That is what is called workflow action.
Okay.
Okay. So we
Mm-hmm.
spoke about different actions in workflows previously, right? So these are the
Mm.
actions.
Yeah.
You can create a task, you can create an email alert, you can create a new field update, you can
Mm-hmm.
create a outbound message.
Mm.
Existing action is nothing but you already have a workflow action that is defined and you can reuse it. So you will see this in few minutes. That is fine. So let's try to understand what is a new task.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let's say you joined a company.
Mm.
Okay. So for you, I want to create contact details.
Mm-hmm.
I need your contact details, right? Going ahead for any sort of communication.
Mm.
Even if I have to send you some laptop or headphones or be it whatever your
Mm.
any company related asset, if I have to
Mm-hmm.
ship it to you, I'll need
Mm-hmm.
your contact details. And
Yeah.
also for any emergency purposes, I'll need your contact details. So when you
Mm-hmm.
join a company, your first
Mm-hmm.
task is always to update your contact details.
Mm. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So consider we are creating a contact record
Mm-hmm.
immediately after you join the company.
Okay.
Okay. So once this contact record is created,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to update your contact details, which means
Mm.
mobile number, email, your address.
Yeah.
So now what I'll do, I'll create a task for it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So the task is nothing but you're actually this is nothing but a to-do list basically.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
send out an email to this guy or remind so and so person to finish something.
Mm.
It is just a kind of regular activity. Okay, so if I start creating a new task, this is what you're going to see. So this task object is again, a little you need to invest some time to understand the task object properties. Okay, I mean task object fields. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So here you can define to which uh just a minute, let me show this to you. Okay, to which user or to which role, okay, you
Mm-hmm.
want to assign this task to.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
basically at the end of the day, you're
Mm-hmm.
actually assigning a task to user.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
since I have created the contact with my name, I'm assigning a
Mm-hmm.
task to myself.
Okay.
Okay. So I have to do this task now. I am
Mm.
responsible for finishing this task.
Mm.
Okay. Subject, update, contact, details. Okay. Unique
Mm.
name is nothing but the API name.
Mm.
Okay. I mean this will be unique. Okay.
Mm.
So if you see the help text, it also says the unique name is used by the API. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
So once the task is created, with what status we should be creating it? You can define your own values here, but now let's say not started.
Mm.
Okay, what is the priority of this task? If you have multiple tasks, you have to define the priority, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So you'll define the priority here. I'll just keep it as normal. Due date, by when we have to finish it.
Mm.
Okay. So when you select this due date field, right,
Mm-hmm.
it will show all possible date fields on the contact object.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This rule trigger
Mm.
date is nothing but when this rule got triggered. I mean,
Mm.
whenever the contact is created, it meets the criteria and this workflow rule will get triggered, right?
Yeah.
That is the value this is going to give.
Okay.
Okay. So, and
Mm.
again, like you want this task to be done by the birthday or something like that.
Mm.
These are all
Mm.
different date fields. Okay. So
Okay.
you'll understand all these fields, when you're actually building an application. You might have some custom fields, right?
Yes.
So let's say in course object you created a course. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What did we discuss then? Like whenever you mention the start date, the end date should be added by 2 days.
Yeah.
So let's consider once the course is created, you want the course whoever is going to deliver the course. Now let's say
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually trying to deliver the course. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assigned with some topic, right? In the course, I'll have the description.
Yeah.
So for the topic, I
Mm-hmm.
should be knowing how much time it is going to take. It can take 2 days, it can take 3 days, it can take 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately, once a course is assigned to me,
Mm-hmm.
I can have a task on my name asking me to update the end date or
Mm.
number of hours this course is going to take for completion.
Okay.
So that is how we are going to do. So
Mm.
for me to do that, I should have a reminder, right? Like I cannot do whenever I want.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
let's say the course is starting today, I cannot do it tomorrow, right?
Mm.
I
Yeah.
have to do it in advance so that the schedule will be prepared properly.
Yeah.
So once the course is prepared, I'll create a
Mm-hmm.
task to finish it, to finish updating this completion date within 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. So now let's say once a contact is created, I want
Mm-hmm.
all these contact details to be updated within 15 minutes
Mm.
or days. So sorry,
O-
we can only add days here. Okay,
Okay.
not minutes. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
from the rule trigger date,
Mm-hmm.
within 1 day, I have to
Okay.
finish this task.
Yeah. Okay.
That is it.
Mm.
So you'll simply say, if you have any comments, you can add. Like, this is nothing but description. So go to the so and so portal and update your contact details. I'll just say this kind of description. Okay.
Mm.
And once I do that, I'll just click on save.
Okay.
Now that's all. We have a workflow that creates a task whenever a contact with first name Karthik is created to update his
Mm-hmm.
contact details.
Mm.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
we can actually see that. I'll show that to you. So now you understood this at a very high level, right? With this, you should understand what a workflow is actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
So what did we say? Whenever it is created or updated, right?
Mm.
So let's edit this. Okay. So we did
Mm-hmm.
not give the department here. Let me give the department is technical. Okay.
Mm.
Now I'm saving. Okay. The first name is Karthik, and we should have a task created ideally. Just a second. Let me refresh this. Oh, sorry. Wait. So is this workflow rule active now?
No.
We have to activate it. Okay.
Okay.
Click on activate once you finish it. Now we activated it, right? So now
Mm.
I'm editing it. And I'm clicking on save. See, we
Mm.
have a task now. Update contact details. If I open it, it is assigned to me. The
Mm-hmm.
subject is update contact details. And in comments,
Mm-hmm.
it is saying asking me to go to some portal and update the contact details.
Mm.
And the due date is tomorrow.
Yeah.
We just added +1 to the triggering date, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is how it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did you understand or is there any confusion?
No.
You can ask. It's okay even if the question is silly.
No. Actually, I'm good.
Okay, fine. So, so that is what a task is about. Okay. Now let's
Mm-hmm.
say I want to add more actions. I can add
Mm-hmm.
multiple actions to a workflow. Okay.
Mm.
So
Okay.
let's say email alert. So this email alert is nothing but, let's say a customer purchased a product. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as once he purchased the product and it is shipped to him,
Mhm.
So when he opened the package, he found a damage on it.
Mm.
So what he will do? He will contact the customer care,
Okay.
right?
Mm.
So let's talk in Salesforce terminology now. So the customer is facing an issue with the product that he purchased from us. So what is he
Mm.
going to do? He's going to create a case in Salesforce,
Yeah.
right? So when the
Mm.
customer care is actually talking to our agent here, he's going to create a
Mhm.
case saying that so and so customer is facing this issue with the
Mhm.
product he purchased.
Mhm.
So once we hang up the call with the customer,
Mm.
the customer should be notified that okay, we have heard your problem, we are going to resolve your case within so and so days. We have to inform
Mm.
him that we have to
Yes.
inform him that, right? So for
Yeah.
that, how do you do that? You'll be receiving some emails with your tracking number or something like that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This email alert is nothing but the same thing.
Okay.
That is how you're going to use this. So based on
Mhm.
certain criteria, okay, if something has happened, then
Mhm.
if you want to notify the customer saying okay,
Mhm.
we logged your problem or something, or be it anything, based on your business requirements, you'll send out an
Mhm.
email configuring this new email alert.
Okay.
Okay, so if you quickly say this, this is what the email alert is. Okay,
Mhm.
you'll just give a high level description, test email alert. Okay, and this is the
Mm.
API name again, unique name, and
Mm.
the object is contact. Okay,
Okay.
so now this is one email template. Okay, email
Mhm.
template is nothing but, so email alert is going to send an email to the customer. Okay,
Mm.
but based on the company, you will be seeing different templates in your emails, right?
Mm.
Right, let's say uh, you bought a product from Flipkart.
Mm.
There is an issue with that. You raised a complaint, and
Mhm.
Flipkart responded to your email saying, "Yeah, we logged your problem. This will be tracked or like finished within 3 to 4 days."
Mm.
So when you see that email, you'll have Flipkart branding all over it, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you raise a case with Amazon, you'll have Amazon branding all over it. So what is that called? That is called template.
Yes.
Okay,
Mm.
so that is the one sort of template that you're going to choose here.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
this template here can be a plain text or a HTML or
Mm.
anything. You can actually configure that. Okay, so let's say we will search if there is some existing template. Okay, okay, I'm just choosing this one. So
Mhm.
I'll actually show you this email template in some time. Okay, so
Mm.
I have selected one template. Now,
Mm.
who should be the recipients for this email?
Mm.
Ideally, to whom we are going to send? We are going to send it to the customer. So who is
Yes.
our customer? Contact here,
Mhm. Okay.
right? So we are creating a now what is it? Workflow rule on contact object, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we are treating this contact as our customer.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, so what we
Mm.
have to do, we have to send it to the contact email.
Mm.
So on contact, if you notice, you'll have a field called email. Here it is. So you can
Yeah.
tell me your email.
Mhm. My email.
Yeah.
Amani AMANI JANGA
Okay.
@gmail.com.
Yeah. Okay, I have
Mhm.
given the email and I'm going to save the record now. Okay,
Mm. Mm.
so now see, another task got created.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Ideally this should not happen, right? It did not change the first name,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Because I'll definitely not need this, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what I'm telling you. So if you choose that third option,
Mm.
another task will
Only
not be
first
created.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Only
exactly.
first time.
Okay,
Okay. Okay. Got it.
so yeah, let's actually go here, and what it is saying, email field.
Mm.
Email field. I'm
mm,
selecting it. So this email field is nothing but, so what it
mm,
is saying, it is saying the contact object. On contact object, we have a email field. So these are
mm.
search filters. Okay. These two things are
Okay.
just search filters.
Okay.
So in the search filters, I'm just selecting email field. You can also send an email alert to owner or who created the case, or if there is
Mm,
any related user or related contact, like anything
mm,
like that. Okay.
mhm.
You'll understand all this, don't worry. Okay, gradually you'll
Okay.
understand all this. So just for now,
Mm,
understand the concept. So I have selected the email field. Now
mm,
what am I saying? Additional email. If you want to have additional any additional email explicitly.
mm,
Okay, so I don't want anything, so or else I can give my email here.
mm,
Give my email. So now from what should be the from address?
mm.
So when you contacted Flipkart, you'll not get an email from Amazon, right?
Yes.
You'll get an email from Flipkart only. So what is your identification for that? You should be seeing that Flipkart domain in your email, right? In
Yes.
similar way, for every
Mhm,
Salesforce or you'll create some organization wide emails.
mhm,
Okay, organization wide addresses. So
mm,
all those organization wide addresses will be visible here.
mhm,
Okay. So
mhm,
I'm choosing mine.
mm.
So you'll receive an email from me now.
Okay.
Okay. I'm clicking on save. Okay. Done. So I'm opening this one. Let me actually select this email template now. I have selected this email template, right?
Mm.
So this is the content in this email template.
Okay.
Okay. So I have we have selected one email template, right? I told you.
Mm.
So
Mm. Yeah.
so for now, this is one random email template.
Okay.
Okay. So when I edit the contact, you should be receiving this email now.
Mm.
Okay. Let's say I'll add the phone number as 100. I click on save. Now check your inbox if you received an email.
Yes.
You received an email, right?
Yeah.
So
New
that's
case
how,
created. Yeah.
yeah. So that's how it is going to work. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
Now let's go back to the workflow and do a small change. So this is the purpose. I have two workflows now. So which
Mm.
workflow I have to open? I can quickly refer the description and understand. Okay, this is the one I created just now.
Mm.
Like for
Okay.
what purpose or whatever it is. Okay. So now
Mm.
I'll edit this workflow rule. I'll actually say
Mhm.
created and updated anytime to meet
To
subsequently
meet
meet the criteria.
subsequent.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now what
Mm.
I'm going to do, I'll not change the first name.
Mm.
Okay. So how many tasks we have now? Three tasks.
Three.
You
Mm.
should you should also not receive the update email alert update. I
Mm.
clicked on save.
Yeah. Still three.
Okay,
Mm.
so that is how it is going to work. Okay, so that is the difference between
Okay.
these things. Okay, so now you understood what a workflow is, all the
Mm.
evaluation criteria you understood two workflow actions.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about third one, field update.
Mm.
Okay, this field update, on this field update part, you'll definitely face 2 to 3 interview questions.
Mhm.
Okay, this task and email alert are nothing. They are very simple and straightforward. You're just going to go here, select the template, type the text, add the recipients, and send it. That's all.
Mm.
But this field update part, this is
Mhm.
where you're going to choose whether you want to use workflow, or you want to go
Mhm.
for a process builder, or you want to go for a trigger.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, because here we have some conditions. Okay, based on only those conditions, you'll be able to update the fields. Okay, now
Mm.
let's say whenever I update the contact. Okay,
Mm.
update the contact name. Okay, let's say let's select something. Mm, contact level. I'm just trying to check what we can update. Okay, okay, fine. We will update some field. Okay, yeah. So let's update level. Okay, level to primary.
Mm.
Okay, so now
Mm.
what I'm saying, update level. Okay, this is API name, and this
Mm.
description you're going to give demo field update. Okay, On contact object, which field you want to update.
Mm.
We thought of updating the level field, right?
Yes.
I've selected the level field. So now what
Mm.
it is saying? It is saying the field data type,
Pick list, is it? Okay. Mm.
right? Okay.
Mm.
So now the value above the, so it is saying it is giving us options. Okay, the value above the current one, the value below the current one, or a specific value.
Mm.
So it is nothing but we have three values.
Mm.
Okay, in this pick list,
Mm.
if the value is tertiary,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if I select the first one, the value above the current one, secondary is going to
Mm.
be updated.
Yeah.
Okay, if I select
Mm-hmm.
the second option, primary is going to be updated.
Mm. Yes.
If I select the third one, I can actually specify which value needs to be updated always.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to select this one.
Mm.
Okay, now I'm,
Mm-hmm.
so before clicking on save, remember this thing. Okay, re-evaluate workflow rules after the field change.
Mm.
Okay, just try
Mm-hmm.
to remember this. Okay, we will talk about this in few minutes.
Mm.
Now I'm saying save. So we have field update as well now.
Mm.
So let me change the workflow rule criteria to every time it is edited. Okay,
Mm.
so that it will be easy for me to show you the demo. Okay,
Mm.
yeah. So here I'm just trying to update some random field. Okay, and
Mm.
now if you see level is empty.
Mm.
Okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
saving the record. Now see, level got updated.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that is what
Whenever
is
it
called
is
field update.
edited, any field, if you edit
Yes.
any field, then level got edited. Okay.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
is the evaluation criteria we have given. It all
Oh.
depends on the evaluation criteria. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Since we have this field update, it is updating it.
Mm.
Got it?
Yeah. Okay.
Now let's go to this again. So we have this checkbox.
Mm.
This is one interview question for you. Okay.
Mm.
So now it is good. You updated this level field.
Mm.
Now let's say you have one more workflow on this case object.
Mm.
Okay. And its criteria is whenever the level changes,
Mm-hmm.
inform send out an email to the customer saying your level got changed.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So now what should happen ideally? We have another workflow, right? So now what should happen? That
Yeah.
workflow should also fire,
Yeah. Okay.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
ideally, in Salesforce, there's a concept called execution order.
Mm.
So in the
Okay.
execution order, when it
Mm-hmm.
when this comes in, when the workflow is executed, we will talk about execution order later, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about workflows, Salesforce
Mm-hmm.
will actually come in and it will check all the workflows, okay?
Mm.
It will check all the workflow conditions, okay? So if
Mm.
any workflow condition is satisfied, it is going to criteria is satisfied, it is going to execute all the actions.
Mm.
So now let's say we have three workflows on this contact object.
Mm.
Okay, the first two criteria are met. The third criteria is not met. The third criteria is
Mm.
nothing but the level one. If level is
Mm.
primary, send out an email.
Mm.
Okay, that is not met.
Mm.
So the first two workflows are executed.
Yes.
Now this level got updated.
Mm.
The third workflow rule will not fire now. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm.
when the record came in from the execution order, when the record came in, it is only
Mm-hmm.
satisfying the first two workflow rule criteria. It is not
Mm-hmm.
satisfying the third one.
Okay.
Okay. While executing the first two workflow actions, some
Mm-hmm.
record got updated and then it is meeting the third workflow rule criteria.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But when the record came in, it is not satisfying, right? So on this
Mm.
update,
Mm-hmm.
it even before it comes here, it is going to decide that okay, third one is not meeting the criteria, so eliminate it. We are just going to execute the two.
Mm.
So even when the level is updated to primary now, the third one is not going to get executed.
Mm.
So that will be a bug in your system, right?
Mm.
So in
Yeah.
such scenarios, what you're going to
Mhm.
do is you're going to select this checkbox.
Mhm.
Re-evaluate workflow rules after a field change.
Mm.
So now what is going to happen? Level is changing here. So when the
Mm.
level is changing, ideally when the record came in, it is not meeting the third workflow rule criteria.
Mm.
So now what it will do, since there is a field update change here, now it is
Mhm.
it will go back and check all the workflow rule criteria again, except the
Mm.
one that got executed.
Okay.
So let's say first one got executed, second one got
Mhm.
executed.
Mhm.
On first one we don't have this checkbox marked.
Yes.
On second one we have this checkbox marked.
Mm.
Okay. Now what it is
Mhm.
going to do? It will go back and execute 1 and 3 again.
Mm.
It will not execute the second one again because the second one is what is getting executed now, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So it will go back and execute first workflow and third workflow. So the first
Mhm.
workflow, let's say it is always executing on created and edited every time.
Mm.
Okay. Now the
Mhm.
third workflow, it is also same thing, created and updated every time.
Yes.
Okay. Now
Mhm.
in third workflow, now this
Mhm.
criteria will be satisfied, right? Level is
Mm.
primary.
Mm.
Now it is going to send out the email.
Mm. Okay.
You're understanding, right? So this is nothing but a field.
Mhm.
So workflows can also fire when there is a change in the transaction.
Mhm.
So if you
Okay.
have such kind of requirements, then you're going to select this checkbox.
Mhm.
But one thing that you have to remember is,
Mm.
let's say you have 4 workflows.
Mm.
Okay. Now you're going to answer me. Okay.
Mm.
We have 4 workflows.
Okay.
On second workflow and on third workflow,
Mhm.
all the workflows are doing field updates. Okay.
Mm.
On second workflow and on third workflow, I have this value checked.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So for second for workflow,
Mhm.
every time the third workflow criteria is meeting. Whenever the second workflow does the field update,
Mhm.
third workflow rule criteria is always meeting.
Mm.
Okay. And whenever the
Mhm.
third workflow rule does a field update,
Mhm.
that field update is always matching the second workflow rule criteria.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. Now we have this setting checked on second and third workflows.
Mm.
Now what is going to happen? Second one will execute. It will do a field update,
Right.
right?
Mm.
You
Okay.
want to say something?
Yeah. Why not third one actually? The
Yeah, I
third.
mean, let's assume the second workflow rule criteria is met
Okay.
in the
Mhm.
first
Mhm.
transaction. Okay,
Okay.
like when the record came in was second workflow rule criteria is met. The second workflow
Mm.
rule will do the field update.
Okay.
Now this field update is actually we check this setting, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So what it is going to do? It is going to execute 1, 3, and 4.
Mm.
Now the third
Okay.
workflow rule is matching the criteria.
Mm.
Okay, and it is
Mhm.
doing another field update.
Yeah. Okay.
Now in third workflow also this checkbox is checked.
Okay.
Now what it is going to do? It is going to execute 1, 2, and 4.
Okay.
Now again it came to second. Criteria is met.
Mm.
Now what it is going to do again?
1, 3, 4.
Right. Now third one came. Criteria is met for the second.
Mm.
So what is happening here? It is repeatedly executing the same process and it is going to into an infinite loop.
Yeah.
So when you select this checkbox, you have to be very careful. You know, there can be a recursion in workflows.
Mhm. Okay.
So to avoid that recursion,
Mhm.
you should always prefer using the third evaluation criteria.
Mm. Okay.
This one.
Okay.
If you use this, If the record value is already meeting the criteria, then the workflow will not fire, right?
Yes, yeah.
So that is what, this is a very important interview question. Okay,
Mm.
you understood this one,
Yeah,
right?
actually,
Yeah.
I have one question.
Yeah.
If you check in this last one,
Mm-hmm.
created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet criteria.
Mm,
Okay.
mm.
For the first time, you gave first name as Karthik.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm,
Mm, then you have updated any other fields, like any
yes.
other fields.
Yes.
Then any workflow will not be existed, right?
No, it will fire other workflows only when on the field update. Okay, only when on this
Mm-hmm.
field update action, it will
Mm-hmm.
fire other workflows only when you select this setting.
Oh, okay.
If this setting is not
Mm-hmm.
selected, other workflows will never fire.
Okay. Only this will work.
Yeah.
This field update will work.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Mm.
this will have this option you'll have only on field update actions. Nowhere
Okay.
else you'll have. Okay.
Okay. Got it.
So that is one thing. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
So I said you can use some existing action, right? So if you see, you have a separate menu called workflow actions. You can
Mm.
define an action here and you can reuse it in any other workflow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So if you see this,
Mm.
I will go back and I'll say select any existing action. So see, it is showing me update contact details, test email alert, update level. All these are we
Mm.
created it now, right?
Yes.
So no other action is available. So it is showing none in available section.
Mm.
Since all are already selected, it is showing none. If you have any other additional action, right, it will be present here and you can select it.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is what is thing. So now this outbound message. Okay, this outbound message is basically related to integration.
Mm.
Okay. So now let's say, so previously we spoke, right? We can have two different systems. Like,
Mm.
for some source of truth purpose or storage purposes, like be it anything, we can have two different system. You can have one system in Salesforce and you can have other system in some other technology,
Mm.
be it SAP, ServiceNow, or Java, or anything.
Mm.
Okay, let's say in Salesforce, if a contact record got created,
Mm.
okay, it should be always sent to that external system.
Mm.
Okay, so you're going to communicate to that external system saying, right, okay, in Salesforce I have a new contact. I'm
Mm.
maintaining all this data in your system, so store this data as well in your system. You want to send this data to that system and say, like, you're actually storing the data in that system, right?
Mm.
So for that purpose, you're going to use this outbound message.
Okay.
Okay, this outbound message is nothing but, you'll just have all the fields. Endpoint URL is nothing but the endpoint URL of that system, external system.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll select what all fields you have to send.
Mm.
Okay, what all fields you have to send. I'll select all the fields for now. So we're not going to
Mm.
test this now because we don't have any external system configured, right? So we're not going to
Mm.
test this for now. Okay, but
Mm.
this is how you're going to configure this. And once you save,
Okay.
on based on the evaluation criteria,
Mm.
okay, if the rule criteria is met, then it is going to
Mm.
send an outbound message to that external system, and this data will
Mm.
be saved in that external system.
Okay.
Okay, so now this is
Mm.
going to use SOAP protocol. Okay, you did not work on integration, so you may not be able to understand this. But when you
Mm.
talk about integration, we have two protocols that we use majorly. One is SOAP and one is REST. This
Mm.
outbound message is going to use SOAP protocol. So we will talk about them when we talk about integrations. Okay,
Mm.
you understood this thing now, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Or is there any confusion?
No.
Right, no confusion. So you're actually good with this part. Now there is one thing that we left in workflow, so we will actually see that. So what this one is saying, we said we will talk about this checkbox later. You cannot add
Mm.
type dependent workflow actions with this option.
Mm.
Okay, So when you select this option, ideally what happens? On every update,
mm,
irrespective of whether it is not meeting the criteria to meeting the criteria, it is always going to
mm,
execute, right?
mm,
So before that, what
mhm,
is a time dependent workflow action? So let's say you bought a data pack for your mobile.
mhm, mhm,
Let's say it is for 7 days.
mm,
On fifth day, I want to send a reminder to you saying like,
mhm,
your pack is expiring within 2 days, so please
mm,
activate it again
mm,
to avoid disrupted services.
mm,
Okay, so I cannot actually go and check, okay, how many days is left. Okay, since it's 2 days and now I'll send her a reminder. I cannot do that, right? I
yes.
cannot go and manually check and do all that stuff, right?
Mm,
So I can automate this in Salesforce.
okay.
Okay, how I can automate? Now, when we are creating a task, we saw all the date fields, and there we are adding the days.
Yeah.
In similar way, we will have an interface where you will select when you want to send a reminder to this customer.
Mm,
Is it a day before? Is it 2 days before? Something like that. Okay.
okay.
Okay. So
Mm,
now the reason why we don't have time dependent workflow actions for this part is it is very
mm,
evident, right? This might actually cause duplicate reminders,
mhm,
right? Duplicate updates. You don't have to
mm,
schedule it always,
mm,
right? See, because see, I did not change the first name, which is in the criteria, but
mm,
always the workflow is getting fired and it is executing the actions.
yes.
You don't want the time dependent actions to fire like that because
Yeah, okay.
it might have duplicate time dependent actions,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Mm,
not needed.
mm,
So let's say in time dependent action, I'm just saying,
mm,
I'm whenever I change the first name, I'm dropping an email to the customer saying you change your first name and it is updated successfully.
mm,
I did not change the first name. I changed some other field.
mm,
Okay. Now, in this scenario, I don't want a time dependent action to duplicate the customer saying like you again change the name to Karthik, right?
yeah.
So that is useless. Even this is not a right example for the time dependent actions, but I'm just telling you. So these kind of
Mm,
duplicate actions you don't want to do in time dependent actions. Okay,
mm,
because
mm,
that is going to increase the queue size.
mm,
So all these time dependent actions will be added to a queue. Okay. So
mm,
in that queue,
mhm,
you'll be able to see what all time dependent actions are scheduled and when it is going to be executed. So
mm,
for that purpose, we have to always select the third option or the first option
mm,
when you want to create a time dependent action. Okay. Now I
okay.
have added this. Okay.
Mm,
Now here I'm editing it. Okay. So it is saying we cannot add a time dependent action to an active role.
mm,
Okay, so we will go back to the workflow. We will deactivate it first. So whenever a workflow is active, you cannot add a time dependent action. Now, since we
mhm,
deactivated, we have this
mm,
button enabled. I'm selecting. So here you see
mm,
30 days after rule trigger date
mm,
or 30 days before rule trigger date. I can say
mm.
hours. Sorry, I can say days. So we spoke about 2 days before, right?
2 days. Yeah.
I'll just say this. I'll say now simply I have to select the workflow action. It can be an email
Mhm,
alert, field update, or whatever it is. I'll select an existing action
mhm,
for now and I'll just select email alert, right? I'll just select
mm,
this test email alert again. I'm clicking on save.
mm,
Okay, done. I configured it. I'll just
mhm,
say done. Okay, now
mm,
I'll activate the workflow.
mhm,
Now, since we selected the third option, we have to change the criteria for this, right?
mm,
In first transaction, they should change it should not meet the criteria,
mm,
right? Now the
Mhm.
record is not meeting that workflow rule criteria,
Mm.
right? Now I'm updating this value to meet the criteria. I'm going to click on save. So I saved it.
Mm.
Now a time dependent action will be added. This will be added basically. This will be
Mhm.
scheduled. Okay, so if you open this,
Mm.
we can actually see uh, just a second. There should be a place where money. Okay, there should be a place where we can see all the scheduled workflow rules criteria. Okay, I
Mhm.
let me actually check. Is money on this call?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, just give me a minute. I'm trying to see where we
Yeah.
can see. But you understood the concept, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so here there should be something. Yeah, here it is. Time-based
Mm.
workflow. So here monitor queue. So here you should actually select like give some filter conditions. Okay,
Mm.
or object we will say we will select contact.
Mm.
Okay, no records. It is not meeting. Mm, okay, equals. What is our workflow name? Yeah, test workflow rule, right?
Mm.
This is activated. Okay, the first name is Karthik here. Okay, okay, we have the task created. Okay, sorry. So basically, the point here is
Mhm.
it is meeting the criteria. So 2 days before the rule trigger, I think it will be created then. Okay, so that is the reason we're not able to see it here.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll actually show this to you tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
So how you're going to filter these things. So ideally, what happens is once this time-based workflow gets triggered, right, you'll be able to see that
Mhm.
here.
Mm. Okay.
So when it is scheduled,
Mhm.
who created it, and
Mm.
what is the created date. So on this scheduled date, this
Mhm.
action will get fired.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
You understood this concept now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll show this to you in our next call.
Mm-hmm.
uh, so again, there are few things. Okay, so let's say you change the criteria while one time based workflow is already scheduled. You change the
Mm-hmm.
workflow rule criteria. What happens then? Any guesses?
Mm-hmm. Hey, which one? Workflow rule.
Yeah. So we have a time dependent workflow here. Okay,
Okay.
and it is already scheduled.
Mm.
Now what you're doing is you went ahead and you changed the workflow rule criteria.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to this? What happens to this scheduled workflow action? So let's say if a person recharges with amount 7, only then I want to send this reminder
Mm.
before 2 days.
Okay.
If a person recharges for 100 days, I
Mm.
mean like with amount 100 and it is for 100 days,
Mm-hmm.
then I want to start sending a reminder from 10 days before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem here is,
2 days before only. Okay.
yeah, so 2 days before is already scheduled. Now I change the
Yeah.
criteria from amount equal to 7 to amount equal to 100.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what happens? So, but this is already scheduled, right? So what happens to this? When the criteria changes, this time
Mm-hmm.
dependent scheduled jobs will be deactivated, cancelled automatically.
Oh, okay. We need to create another
Exactly.
time dependent. Okay. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Mm.
Okay. So when the record meets the criteria next time, after the
Mm-hmm.
new criteria is changed, only then
Mm-hmm.
this time based action will be scheduled again.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So that is what is with workflows.
Okay.
So you can also, try checking what happens. So a job is scheduled and you deactivated and deleted a workflow. What happens then?
Oh, sorry. Job is scheduled.
Scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
deactivated the workflow and you deleted the workflow.
Mm-hmm.
What happens?
Mm. I think you may not get any.
So first of all, when there is a time dependent workflow, right? You can schedule
Mm-hmm.
job, you cannot delete a workflow.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So there are
Mm-hmm.
certain conditions like that. Okay. So if you
Mm-hmm.
just go to the workflow documentation,
Mm-hmm.
okay, workflows, Salesforce. You just go to the workflow